Hi, I'm Graham from Second Era Rumors, and if you've clicked on this video accidentally, 90 seconds is all I ever ask. Welcome back to another week that was on Pokemon Masters X. This week is probably going to be a bit of a quick one. There's a couple of reasons for that. I've got something on the days that I usually edit and record this video, as I said in last week's one. But it's been another reasonably busy week. We've had the Champion Stadium as always. We've had the end of the Father or Foe event. We've also had the Splash and Punch event, so we've been able to get into that one a bit more. And we found out what happens with the weather event. It leads into the Land and Sea Awakening. So let's jump straight in. Oh wait, before we do any jumping, there was one more thing, wasn't there? There was Ho-Oh has come to replace Zinnia and Rayquaza. Okay, if you started jumping, go back and now you can jump in. In round 1 this week you get a reduced sync move countdown. I chose to go up against Lance and I took a team of Zacian, Delibird and Phoebe. Zacian is a steel type, which Lance is weak to this week. Delibird can raise attack, Phoebe can raise crit hit rate and tank a little bit. I went with mostly strength based conditions for this one, as you'll be able to see. And this one really works well with Zacian's passive, so its moves are more powerful when the other team has synced. So you get in there first, you get to do a bit of damage, and then you don't have to wait like you had to do for the time trials for Zacian's full power to be unleashed. And I've only recently upgraded Gloria to 6x, so I'm damn well going to use her this week. And so you load up, you get your laser sharp focus ready for a sync. You hit with the sync move, and then you do Behemoth Blade. Make sure you get that laser sharp focus in then for another sync move, and hopefully with 2 6x sync moves, you've done a substantial amount of damage to the other team. That was the easiest one for me this week. In round 2, the additional effects of moves are more likely to occur. I wasn't quite sure who I was going to go up against this week, so I chose to go against Lorelei. I've not got many strong fighting types. I've said before that I don't necessarily trust them. So I chose a team of Venusaur, Masquerain and Steelix for this one. I was going with a poison trap strategy, so you'll see they're mostly stall conditions. I hope it's this side. A little bit of dancing. Steelix is in there to restore health, protect against critical hits, and keep that move gauge bar topped up. Venusaur is in there for mass poisoning. Viola and Masquerain are in there for trap. The additional effects of moves were things like Mega Healing, getting a move point refresh, your Clang getting a move point refresh. So once I settled on that strategy, it was quite a successful one. For round 3, your condition was don't let your sync pairs faint, otherwise everyone else on the team gets a stat reduction. I chose to take on Bruno this week. He was weak to water types, so usually I'd have gone for Barry and built my team around that, but this week I decided to go for Palkia as my main water type striker, and to go along with him I chose Rosa and Serperia and Hilbert and Samurott. And the main draw of using Palkia is that he's got quite good crit hit rates and it can raise itself, so it's very useful to have that. His Hydro Pump can hit very hard. You're syncing first with Serperia for that 6x boost, you're raising special attack, and then with Hilbert you're raising attack, speed and crit hit rate. And focus on taking out the two sides first because they have those really awful moves that can wipe your team out pretty quickly if you don't deal with them before the middle. You don't necessarily need to use New World Order because that's a big chunk of health to take out, and that's what Serperia is there for. She's there to raise your special attack. I wouldn't sit on your time to energize. I'd use them as quickly as possible because if you do like I have, you have Serperia as the first target. She is going to faint at some point, so you want to use your time to energize when you still have them. And if you're using a Hydro Pump from Palkia, a Waterfall for some flinching from Hilbert, you're not necessarily going to be able to use a 2-bar move with Serperia, and that move gauge needs to keep itself topped up. And finally, on to round 4. The condition here was that stats lowering is more effective, and I was left with Agatha for this one. I took in my stat lowering team of Xerneas, Heliolisk and Mew. The reason I thought this would be a good idea is that after Mew sinks, it gets Blizzard, Ice type move. Gloria and her Golbat are weak to Ice type moves this week, so it meshed quite well. Ice types aren't really my strength. I've got Lapras and Dugong probably my best two, and then after that there's not much follow-up. And this was kind of a stall team, so that's why the conditions are mainly around HP and defense. What you do is you get down to that first sync move with Xerneas using Dazzling Gleam. You use Mud Slap in the middle to lower Golbat's accuracy. Mew has some trainer moves that you can use up to boost speed and things like that. Xerneas sinks first. Can do maybe a second sync from Xerneas while it's doing Horn Leech, and then Heliolisk does Mud Slap until the accuracy is low as it can go. Then you can do Electro Web to lower speed, and then after that it's Parabolic Charge and you don't need to think about it. Mew does Swift, so that's going to lower stats as well, and then don't wait too long before using its sync move, because then it comes onto Blizzard, and that's where the majority of your damage is going to come from. And on the one that I did it, Xerneas did faint, but Heliolisk was pretty well topped up from Parabolic Charge, and Mew was still going strong as well. And so on to the champion round, where you're taking on Blue. This week his Pokemon was Exeggutor, which I thought was a nice change. The condition that Blue always has is a physical attack reduction. I decided to go with the optional condition of the additional parameters are more likely to occur. I went with a team of Blastoise, Swanna and Skylar, and Lucy and Seviper. I thought I would go with my two tankiest and chunkiest units on there. Both of them can also raise defense, because in this one they're protecting precious cargo. Lucy's in there because she can do both Badly Poisoned and Trap, and this is a Poison Trap strategy. And both Poison and Trap do quite a lot of damage to Exeggutor, so that's pretty useful. What's not useful is when Exeggutor uses its sync move, it cleanses itself, so you've got to make sure that you're getting that poison back onto it, or badly poisoned I should say. There was a few where I had a Sludge Bomb lined up and that hit and it only did poison, and so badly poison is better than normal poison, so I wasn't maximising it as much as I could have been doing, but it didn't cause me too much bother. I had two 6x supports, so they use sync move, and it's glorious. It's boosting them stats as high as you could possibly want them to go. Lucy has her own self-healing, Swanna has potions, Blue gives the team endurance, and it's a beautiful symphony that weaves itself together and tells Blue to smell you later yourself. And there it is, 7,500 points. We're up on that podium again, we're into the Hall of Fame, and it's all good. On to Splash and Punch. I promised to talk through the Full Force battles. I don't think they're called Full Force battles anymore because you're not taking on 9 opponents, you're only doing 3. So for the first round of it, I took in a water team, Barry, Hilbert, and it was either Misty or Blue, I can't really remember. It doesn't make too much difference because they're weak to water types, and Barry's going to be doing a lot of damage because he's an absolute savage. The round 2, I went for the same team. Again, Barry is an absolute savage. He went through it and just messed them up completely. But I didn't want to stop there. I decided to go in with a fighting type team of Karina, Brawley and Maylene, and after a few attempts I was able to get through that one as well. The thing that you want to watch out for is taking out the sides first, because they're going to hit you with things like Heat Wave and Overheat and powerful moves like that hit all 3 and can wipe you out. Lapras in the middle is going to do a reasonable amount of damage with its Hydro Pump, that's its big move, but again, that's only taking out one at a time if it's doing it, rather than hitting all three and potentially taking out your striker. I don't have Karina at 6x, so I wasn't using a 6x striker there. Brawley has potions and can heal. It can also reduce defense, so that's good when you want to hit hard with close combat. Maylene has gloves off, which is going to charge your move gauge or something like that. I don't know, I don't use her very often. But it took a few attempts, but I wasn't ever like, this is going to be beyond me. And so hopefully you're stacking up on your tickets from that event as well. You're getting all of the good rewards from that one. For me at the moment, that's where the majority of my stamina is going, to make sure that I can claim all of those rewards before the event ends. I think we've got another 2 weeks left on it, so there's still plenty of time. The Rainbow Firebird is back, so if you haven't got Ho-Oh and Silver before, now's your chance. It's a reasonably good unit that has competitors that does all the things that it does but better. So it can set its own sun, which is good, but then it doesn't necessarily take advantage of it in the way that another unit would, and you can get sun from elsewhere. It's got a grid now though. I haven't had an opportunity to explore that, so maybe there are some good nodes in there that really take Silver over the top. There's lots of good rewards to be had from those prize boxes, especially if you're trying to get your units up to level 135, so definitely worth pulling from there. And we've got the culmination of our weather survey event. Turns out that it was Groudon and Kyogre causing all of that. Who could have guessed? So you need tokens to do these battles. You can either get them daily from your login. You can get another one daily from the event with the lady from the Pokemon Center where she looks all sad. You can also pay 100,000 coins to buy more tickets. And you can use those to take on battles in Land and Sea Awakening. So you can either take on Kyogre and a team of water types, or Groudon and a team of ground types. And one's weak to water, the other's weak to grass. So luckily I have a 6x striker for both of them. It's not too difficult for me. They don't hit too hard either, so they shouldn't be too much of a hassle to complete the battles. It's just taking the time out to make sure you use up all of your tickets. I'm focusing on taking out Kyogre because I think the badge that we can earn there is slightly better. You can also get water type tomes, which are much more useful than ground type tomes. There are only 3 ground types in the game, whereas there's loads of water types that you'll need tomes for if you want to unlock that level 130 cap. If you're running low on coins, be aware of the items that you can sell for coins. So evolution items, the level 2 ones, I think they sell for 100,000 each, and then the level 1 ones are 10,000 each, so you can get a good source of coins from those. I have a fair few stocked up that I'm probably not going to use that I might have to turn to if it gets round to it. You can also sell pearls. The silver ones are worth 1,000, the gold ones are worth 10,000. They're not as prevalent in the game as they used to be, but you still might get a few from your daily scout. And that's the week that was. I'm sorry for the brevity on this one, circumstances beyond my control, but hopefully you found this useful with everything to look out for in Pokemon Masters X. I'll see you next week with a hopefully more in-depth video for the week that will be. But you've made it past the 90-second mark at this point. Hopefully you found something that you liked within this video. If you have, you can check out a lot of my other videos. Hopefully there's something in those that you like as well. You can subscribe to the channel so that when next week's Week That Was comes along, you'll be able to find that very easily. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm SEOM_YT. But thank you very much for watching this video, and goodbye.